Hello and welcome to this tutorial, which is part of a series designed to help you learn more about Workbooks reports, charts and dashboards. In this session we're focusing on building dashboards. Displaying your data on a dashboard is a great way to provide users with all the information they need in one place. Dashboards allow you to collect together both reports and charts, and typically they're used for things like pipeline management, case handling, or tracking the financial health of your business. The different boxes on a dashboard are called elements, and there are 4 things that you can add as elements. The first is a report view. You can choose to display multiple views from the same report or from different ones, and you can control how many rows of that report appear on the dashboard. You can also add charts as elements. The charts can be of any type and can be added as double height if that makes them easier to see. You can add web pages into your dashboard, for example an overview of the service status of a particular website. And fourthly, you can add in elements for a web process, such as a case or lead allocation script, which can be called directly from the dashboard. I won't be covering how to add web pages or processes in this tutorial, but I will show you how to add reports and charts. Let's go into Workbooks to have a look at that. Here's an example of a Workbooks dashboard. As you can see, this one is 3 columns wide, and as I scroll down, you can see that there are multiple tiles, or what we call elements, available. Some are charts, some are reports. Hopefully you're already familiar with how to build the reports and charts, but if not, do have a look at the tutorials covering how to do that. You can also see that on the left-hand side there are 3 different views available, and if I change to one of these others, maybe the South Team one, you can see that the elements on the dashboard are redrawn to reflect the fact that we're now just looking at the results for the Southern team. If I go back to the company-wide view, you'll see up at the top that we have 3 filters available for sales territory, sales rep and industry. I could perhaps filter for sales reps where the name contains Alison or maybe Tony. And again, you can see that those charts and reports are reloading to take account of the filter that I've just applied. You can, though, add reports or charts to the dashboard and not link them to the filters. If I scroll down to the report down here at the bottom, the top 10 customers, it isn't affected by the sales territory or the rep filters, but it is affected by the industry filter. If I take out Alison and Tony and filter on industry contains water supply, you can see I'm now only seeing 3 rows of data in that bottom report. That indicates to me that of all the customers on our database, we only have 3 that are in the water supply industry. Whereas if I change the filter to maybe telecom, now that that's reloaded, you can see that I am seeing just the first 10 rows of data. So that's telling me that we have at least 10 customers on the database that are in the telecoms industry. However, when I scroll back up and look at the other elements on this dashboard, they're completely unaffected by the industry filter. It's entirely up to you when you set up a filter. You can choose to apply it to some or to all of the elements on the dashboard, and we will look at how you do that later. Dashboards don't have to have filters on them, so we're going to start by building a simple dashboard. You need to go to your dashboard landing page, which you can get to if you've still got the desktop shortcut for dashboards. You can go to that one, or from your start button, dashboards and new dashboard. Give your dashboard a name. You can see that the default is for the dashboard to be 2 columns wide of equal proportions, equal ratio, but use the drop down and experiment to see what suits you, up to a maximum of 3 columns wide, like the one I've just shown you. You can change this afterwards as well. If you try one thing and then decide to change it, that's absolutely fine. The Layout tab is where you go to add elements to your dashboard, the tiles on your dashboard, and you simply click Add and choose what sort of element you want to add. I'm going to add a report to start with. You can see you need to specify the name of the report, and then there's a View option. If your report has got more than one view, you then have to choose which view it is that you want to show on the dashboard. I'm going to stick with this one, Performance QTD. You can give it a different title on the dashboard, different from its underlying report name if you want to. If you want to limit the number of rows you see of the report, tick the Limit Results checkbox and then specify how many rows you do want to see. Then you've got a couple of checkboxes. The first is to allow the user to reload the report so that they can see the most recent information. and the next one is to allow them to expand the dashboard element into a bigger window, and typically we leave these two ticked. They are ticked by default. Finally, there's one that allows you to make the element double height. Again, experiment with this to see if it gives you the dashboard appearance that you're looking for. You can just click Save and Close now, but if you just click Save, you'll see that two new tabs appear. The first one, the Report one, that allows you to apply filters. You can do things like change the sort order of your report, and you can move and hide columns so that the report on your dashboard looks quite different, possibly, from the underlying report. The third tab, the Field Mappings tab, is used when applying dashboard filters, so we're going to come back to that one later and just keep this simple. I'm going to add another report just by going through the same steps. This time I'm picking the report view that shows us our top customers. So this time I am going to limit the results by ticking this box, and I'll say let's see the top 10. So this time I'll also change the title and say this is our top 10 customers. And finally I'm going to add a chart. In the same way, you have to say which report is it that's got the chart on, and you'll only ever get the choice of reports that do have chart views on them. You won't see the entire list of your reports, just the ones where a chart has been built. And maybe I'll make this one double height. And you can drag and drop these elements if you want to, so I'll just put the chart over on the right hand side. Back on the main tab, when you create a dashboard, it's private to you, but you can modify this using the sharing padlock here. Even if the individual reports on your dashboard haven't been shared with users, giving them access to the dashboard means that they will be able to view the reports. However, if you haven't shared the underlying report, they won't be able to drill into it from the dashboard. Now we've got our dashboard with the three elements that we've added. If you scroll down on this top 10 customers one, you can see that it actually tells us it's displaying the first 10 rows. So viewers know that there may be more rows, but they're just seeing the top 10. And each of the elements has got the refresh icon on because we left that checkbox ticked, and each of them has got the control where we can open up this element in a new window to make it easier to see. Remembering that with charts, for example, you can now go and open the related report view from here if you want to as well. On the left, we've only got one view of this dashboard. We've got the default view. We haven't created any filters yet, so we can't build up any other views, but we will do that next. If you want to add more things to your dashboard, you can make further edits, or you can push reports onto a dashboard. Let me show you. On a report itself, choose the view that you want to add to a dashboard, highlight it, and then click Add to a Dashboard, and then specify which dashboard it is that you want to add the report to. My preference is to pull elements onto a dashboard rather than push them, but both are possible. You saw earlier that it's possible to add filters to dashboards, which makes them really versatile and can reduce the need to have multiple different dashboards. You also saw that you can set up filters to apply to just some or all of the elements in your dashboard. In order for filters to work on the different elements in your dashboard, the field that you want to filter on must be included as a column in the underlying report, even if that column's been hidden. Imagine on this dashboard you want to be able to filter on the salesperson. You can see that we've got that represented in the performance report, albeit the name of the column is Sales Rep, and we've also got it in the pie chart. But we don't have any information like that in the top customers report, so we won't be able to apply a salesperson filter to that element of our dashboard. Let's create the Sales Rep filter. So you have to be in edit mode. Adding filters requires setting up a field on your dashboard and then creating a mapping between that field and the relevant column in your report. After that, you can create the filter itself and apply it to one or more views of your dashboard. So you need to set up the field first on this tab called Fields. Click Add, and I'm going to call this Salesperson. You must select a data type. For us, this is going to be a string because the field holding the data about the salesperson is a text field. But you can see that there are other choices, so you might select currency and apply a filter to see deals over a specified size, or maybe a date filter to see cases raised in a selected time period. But for us, a string is what we need. I'm going to click that green Create button in the top left hand corner, and when I do, you'll see a couple of tabs appear. And it's moved us onto the second one, the one called Field Mappings. This is where you're going to set the mapping to a column in a specific element from your dashboard. So if I click on Add, it's asking which element. I'll start with this performance year to date. And it's now asking me which column in the report holds the information that will tally with the salesperson in a filter on the dashboard. So here it is, it's called Sales Rep. That's okay, the names don't have to be the same as long as the content of that field is what you're looking for. You need to repeat this step for every element in your dashboard that you want to apply the filter to. So I'll do this again for the pie chart, which is my sales year-to-date one. And again, I'm going to use the field from the underlying report called Sales Rep. Now I need to go to the third tab, the one called View Filters, and click on Add. This is where I say which view of the dashboard is it that I want this filter to appear in. Well, we've only got one view, the one called Default, so that's definitely where I want it to appear. Then you have to specify an operator, so that when you're looking at the filter, if you were saying salesperson, what you're looking for starts with, contains, does not contain, and so on. You can change this once you've set it up. I'm going to say contains. You can put some text into the text field if you want, which means the filter will always default to looking for the records that fit the criteria you're specifying, which means the filter will always default to looking for the records that fit the criteria, but I'm going to leave it blank. If you leave the checkbox for editable ticked, it means that the filter will appear at the top of the dashboard and can be modified by users. If you untick the box, the filter won't be shown, so you'd need to specify the text for your operator here if you were to do that. I'm just save and closing my way back to the main tab, and where I'm going to click Save and Run. So now you can see that the filter's in place, and you can choose different options. Let's say the salesperson contains John. Straight away, the two elements that we've applied the filter to, the chart and this bottom report, have now been filtered just to show us the results for John. So what if we now wanted a filter to look at customers in different industry sectors? As before, we'd need to have that column in the report for the filter to work, and it doesn't look like we've got that in this particular report. Make this a bit bigger to make it easier for you to see. Still looks like we've just got the two columns. It doesn't look like we've got any information on industry sector. But in actual fact, if I hover over here and look at the columns, industry is a column in this report, it's just been hidden. So we are going to be able to build a filter using industry. So I'll go and do that now. Go back to edit the dashboard, and this is just the same as we did before. You go to the Fields tab, click Add, call it Industry. Again, this happens to be a string, so that's what I'm going to choose. When I click on Create, I'll get my new tabs. In Field Mappings, I'm going to click Add. There's no point in me trying to apply this filter to the performance QTD or sales year-to-date because those elements on my dashboard don't have the column in for industry, but Top 10 Customers does. And now to complete this, I'm going to go to my View Filters and say that in the default view, industry contains or starts with, and I'll also leave that one to be editable. Save and close. Now when I save and run my dashboard, you can see I've got both filters available. If I were to say that the industry contains manufacturing, for example, that's had no effect on two elements in my dashboard. We wouldn't expect it to because the filter hasn't been linked to those, but it has had an impact on the top 10 customers. Remember, just like a grid landing page, you can create and save filtered views. So if I wanted to save this manufacturing filter, I'd just use the View option in the top right and do View Save As. And now it's a view on the left-hand side, and I can toggle between my default that has no filters and my manufacturing view. Let's have a quick recap on dashboards. You can add reports, charts, web pages and web processes to dashboards, although we've only looked at reports and charts in this tutorial. We call these items elements. Your dashboard can have up to 3 columns, and they can be of varying ratios, and you can change the number afterwards if you decide you want to arrange things differently. You can change the titles of the reports and charts that you add, as well as doing things like applying filters to them and rearranging the columns. You can make elements double height, which can help to make some charts easier to read, and you can apply a limit to the number of rows you see in a report. The overall number that a user will see on each page will be in line with the limit set in their preferences. You can control whether or not users can refresh the elements or expand them, although generally we'd advise that you do allow this. Sharing a dashboard gives users access to the underlying reports, even if those reports haven't been shared with the user. But remember, if they haven't been shared, the user won't be able to drill into the underlying report. Adding filters and creating saved views is a really good way to make your dashboards more versatile. Remember that the filter can only map to a column that's included in your report, but it is okay to add that column afterwards if you need it to drive a filter. So that's information on how to build dashboards. I hope you found it useful. Thank you for watching. If you want more information on reporting in general, please go to our knowledge base. Go to workbooks.com/help/reporting.